Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to Nature Obscura, a podcast where nature and the supernatural collide. I'm Marissa.
And I'm Grace. Each week, we share spooky happenings from the great outdoors, from cryptids to curses, ghosts to witches, and everything in between.
Now, while we love a poltergeist knocking on your door 3 times at 3:30 in the morning, that's not what we're here for. We're taking you around the globe to explore where nature and the supernatural intersect.
And before diving into the main story, we're going to go into some natural history and background on where the story takes place.
So grab your flashlight, listen closely, and check your watch because we're heading to a time vortex today.
You pull your theme song. I really like The Twilight Zone. It's one of my favorite old-timey shows. Like, I usually don't watch old movies, like, before, 2000, or, like, shows even. But I've watched all of the Twilight Zone episodes.
I like Twilight Zone. I also love, it's mainly a nostalgia thing. Growing up, I watched it with my grandma. Beyond Belief, fact or fiction? Have you heard of that one?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Okay, I think you can watch it on streaming, probably for free online somewhere. But it's 4 or 5 reenactments of an event that happened, and like it alternates, but 3 are true, 3 are false, and you have to like guess during the episode, and at the end they reveal if it really happened or not. And it's really kooky, crazy things, like paranormal-esque and adjacent.
Yeah, that's fun. But how do they prove that something actually happened if it's paranormal?
This was based on a news article from Townsend, Connecticut in 1992. Like that sort of thing. Like they probably can't actually, but they're saying this is based on an actual report.
Imagine being the script writer that has to come up with all of the fake ones, though. You could just go wild.
You can. And sometimes it was so fun because sometimes you would think the fake ones were real and the real ones were fake. Like it was just, it's a hoot. You should give it a try.
That does sound fun. I don't have time for TV right now, but I do have time for looking at the news and that article that I sent you. Okay. Okay, so I don't even know if this would be in the podcast. So I sent Marissa an article about Jared Leto being like basically a predator of young children. Okay, wait, not young children. Children underage, like 15, 16. It's really creepy. And did I tell you, I've told you, right, that I've met Jared Leto twice?
Yeah, and he was a creep.
And he was a creep. Yeah. So like I saw this article and I was like, oh my God, because I'd always heard rumors, right? But then seeing this, I was like shocked. I had to go to my coworker and just like trauma dump. But it's like not even my trauma. It's like just that he was like creepy when I met him when I was 15. And I feel like I could have been a victim. Like
yeah, it's scary.
Yeah. The second time we met him, I feel like if my sister hadn't been there, and she fully agrees with me, if she hadn't been there, I probably was going to be a victim.
Really? What happened? What makes you say that?
Okay, so like we went to a concert, we got a golden ticket, we paid like $300 to meet him and the band. And whenever we met him, we were all in a line. He was like touching my hair, he was petting me, he was touching my back.
Stop!
Yeah, and then
Ew.
I know. And so everyone was getting pictures with him and he's like, "No, I want you for last," like to me. I'm like, "Okay," like of course, I'm 15 years old. I think he's really hot. I'm like, "Yeah, he likes me," right? So creepy. Looking back, so creepy. So my sister is second last, goes and gets pictures with him. Everyone's getting 2 pictures. I go up there. He's hugging me and I get 5 pictures. He just keeps going no, I want more, I want more. And in the pictures, he's licking his lips, and the other bandmates, they look disgusted. They're trying to
so you
get
have
away.
Photographic evidence of him being a complete creep.
Yes. And I remember, I talked to my sister today about it. we both remember she, like, went down the stairs a little bit, like, just to kinda give us, like, some space, be like, "Oh, she's meeting him now, I'll give her some space." But she went down the stairs a little bit, and he, like, looked over at her and was like, "Hey, like, can I help you?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm waiting for my sister." And he got, like, upset that, like, I wasn't alone. And so then, like, we said our goodbyes, and that was it. I don't know, it just, like, creeps me out.
That is so disturbing and horrifying. I hadn't heard that. I think I'd only heard about, like, the first time or whatever, like, just the general creepiness. That is
Yeah,
truly so disgusting.
I
Sorry to
know.
go through that.
I read in this article about Jared Leto, it was like people have known for such a long time, but the industry was making too much money off of him, so they tried to hide it. And that's just disgusting.
It is. It
Yeah.
really is.
But also, I remembered what I was gonna say from that text. It wasn't about Jimothy.
It wasn't? Okay, what was it?
It was that um I've actually been to Watertown twice.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, so there's the, army base there, Fort Drum. My brother was stationed there. So, yeah, I've actually been here twice, which is insane that it's the same place that Will went. I don't know, I was
Yeah,
really
that
surprised.
is really interesting. Will was there, he was stationed at Fort Drum too. So that's how him and his, like, army buddies fell into this whole thing and the experience he had. So for the listeners, my roommate actually recommended this story because during his time at Fort Drum, him and his, coworkers experienced this vortex, and so we had to look into it. Did you go to Thompson Park when you were there? Apparently, there's also a zoo at the park, there's a golf course, so if you went to the zoo in Watertown, you actually might have been right near the vortex's entrance.
I don't think we went there. We did go on a hike next to the river, but that's pretty much it. I did also text my brother and ask if he had any paranormal experiences, and he was very short. He said no, which automatically made me suspicious. I asked him, "Did you ever see owls there?" He says, "What? No." I'm like, "Okay,
Hmm,
means that you were probably abducted by aliens and they just wiped your memory."
probably.
So,
I don't really have I have one spooky thing, and I totally forgot to mention it last time we recorded. It's actually about the Jack White concert. So, um, I took an edible, like, as one does,
yeah,
and
go
right
on.
before the show's about to start, you know that DJ guy that's, like, hyping everyone up? Did you hear him say
No.
my name?
No.
Okay, so he's, like, saying, "Oh, everyone get ready for Jack White, blah, 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 like, the energy you give to him, he gives to you," and then he's like something Marissa. Did he just say my name? What did he say before my name? And Cody's dying laughing. And he said R.I.P. Marissa. No context. I
And
just
you're
heard this
fine. You're
man.
like, "What?"
I'm like, is he talking to me? Like, what Marissa? What are you? Dude, it kind of tripped me up.
But also just imagine, like, there must have at least been, like, 3 or 5, at least, Marissas there. Like, everyone just stopped, they're like,
Me? Like, well, it was no context, no nothing. It was just like, yeah, 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 yeah. R.I.P. Marissa. And then he just like dropped the mic and left the stage. I was like, it
"That
made
is
me do, like,
so
a double
weird."
take. So, RIP Marissa, shout out to a real one. I hope you're doing well on the other side. But, yeah, I was just forgot to mention that to you, like, asking if you I wanted to ask if you had heard that.
No, I wasn't paying attention. I wish I'd heard it.
It was something. Well, are you ready to dive into this week's episode?
I start every background the same,
We're
where
talking about rocks.
yes. The land surrounding and beneath Watertown, New York, was shaped over hundreds of millions of years by ocean waters and massive ice sheets. Around 450 million years ago, the region was submerged under a shallow sea, visible today in the thick Ordovician limestone and shale. Millions of years later, during the last ice age, about 20,000 years ago, the Laurentide ice sheet moved across New York, carving rolling drumlins, which are oval shaped hills, depositing glacial till and leaving behind rich wetland basins. As the ice retreated, the Black River, which runs through Watertown, and that's the one that I actually hiked on, began cutting through the ancient limestone layers, creating a deep gorge that today drains into Lake Ontario's Black River Bay. The forests surrounding Watertown are a blend of northern hardwoods, sugar maple, American beech, yellow birch, and white ash, as well as evergreen conifers. And in case you don't know, because I didn't really know, the term hardwood refers to broad-leaved flowering trees that reproduce through enclosed seeds rather than cones. This landscape is a transition forest where the lowlands of Lake Ontario meet the higher Tug Hill Plateau. Temperate broadleaf species mingle with northern subboreal evergreens, all above a diverse wetland floor anchored by cattails, alder, and sedges. Wildlife here includes white-tailed deer, coyotes, the occasional black bear, beavers, raccoons, mink, river otters, and muskrats. Which, did you know, muskrats can hold their breath for up to 20 minutes.
That's weird.
It's weird. Why would they ever need to do that? Don't they usually live in pretty shallow areas? But I guess
thought.
to hide from predators, maybe? Other animals in the area include red and gray squirrels, cottontail rabbits, small rodents and shrews, porcupines. And Marissa, guess how many quills a porcupine can carry?
180.
Shit, I thought I was going to remember this, but it was a while ago. I got to Google it.
All right, now you guess.
I know it has a 3 in it, so I can't remember if it was 300, 3,000, or 30,000. It can't be 30,000.
That'd be impressive.
It's 30,000.
Impressed.
Wow. It says there are as many as 100 to 140 quills per square inch of skin. How is that even possible?
I'm going to have to look at a photo of a porcupine because, I'm thinking of African crested porcupines. Maybe it's a different vibe. I thought they were kind of the same.
Well, yeah, I guess it's kind of like fur at some point. The North American porcupine looks like they have really fine quills, whereas like other porcupines, like the Indian crested porcupine, it's like the super big ones that.
Okay. Yes, that makes sense.
But another fun fact about those quills is that they're covered in a natural antibiotic layer, just in case they accidentally stab themselves, which happens more often than you'd think.
Sweet.
The Watertown area also hosts a surprising variety of arachnids near its waterways and forests. Along the Black River and Lake Ontario shorelines, large dock spiders hunt without webs by resting their legs on the water's surface to detect vibrations. They use surface tension to walk across open water, and they dive to catch minnows and even tadpoles. In wildflower fields, goldenrod crab spiders change body color over several days between bright yellow and white to blend in with the flowers so they can ambush pollinators. And inquisitive jumping spiders like the emerald and zebra jumping spiders use powerful central eyes to track movement and attach a silken safety tether to leaves before leaping really impressive distances to snatch their prey. I have 2 really big jumping spiders that live on my porch, and I see them about every other day, and I just love them so much.
They're pretty cute.
So cute. Yeah. But even more interesting than all of that is that Watertown sits directly on the Atlantic Flyway, which is one of North America's major bird migration routes, stretching from the Arctic tundra to the Caribbean and South America. Lake Ontario is a major obstacle for small songbirds and raptors traveling south. Birds migrating along the shore are reluctant to cross open water, creating natural concentration points where flocks travel along the eastern shore before navigating around the lake. Coastal wetlands, marshlands, and drumlin bluffs near Watertown serve as crucial staging areas where migratory birds rest and build up energy reserves. There are approximately 500 bird species that live in this area and migrate through, including waterfowl like snow geese, tundra swans, and they pause by the thousands in local wetlands. And there's aerial hunters such as osprey, bald eagles, sharp-shinned hawks that also use the flyway. Migrating songbirds include the scarlet tanager and the bobolink, a grassland specialist that makes an annual round-trip migration of over 12,000 miles to South America. Spring brings a surge of warblers like the yellow-rumped warbler, which can digest waxy bayberries when insects are scarce. and the black-throated green warbler, known for its buzzy call. And then there's the black and white warbler, and they creep up and down trunks just like the nuthatch. So think they go upside down, they'll go down a trunk, up a trunk. And what they're doing is they're hunting for insects along and inside the bark. Can you tell that I could definitely keep going on this? But alas, this area is not famous for its forests, spiders, or birds, but for an entirely different reason altogether.
Good job. I wonder how a vortex in this town could impact the wildlife in the area. I didn't read anything that mentioned wildlife interacting with this park's vortex, but strangely enough, it is literally right next to the city zoo.
Interesting. So does it speed up time or do you just lose time?
Time is lost, but that's not all. So, in Watertown, there is a legend so beloved that it has its own signage to mark the place, as well as a spot on New York's Haunted History Trail Guide. Upon entering the well groomed trails of Thompson Park, you'll see the unmistakable sign, all black with brat green text reading Watertown's Area 51, Thompson Park Vortex, complete with a cartoon of an alien head.
Surprisingly, I didn't see that when I was there.
Bummer. Maybe next time if you're ever in that area again. And we'll circle back onto as to why they call this Area 51. It's going to be for a different reason than you suspect. The legend goes that those who wander into the vortex are transported to other areas of the park. People often leave feeling confused and disoriented without any idea of what time it is. The park is believed to be an interdimensional vortex that transports people to other areas of the park. However, that's not all. Some visitors report mist like apparitions, nausea, unexplainable noises, and strange time distortions. Odd things they may see or experience seem to last hours, only to find that it's only been a few minutes. The opposite can occur too. Minutes can feel like hours. I experienced something similar during my time working at McDonald's drive-thru in high school.
No.
No, I'm just joking. It just sucked. It took forever. It was like the longest shifts ever. Even though it was like only like 4 hours long, I swear to God, I would look at that clock and the time would not change.
Yeah. I thought you were dead serious. I was like, "Oh my god, you never told me."
Eerie. No.
God, I'm too gullible.
I was haunted. Okay, AMA, ask me anything. I was haunted in the McDonald's drive-thru. So, I was doing research because I was having a hard time understanding why it was called a vortex, because when I think vortex, I think swirling masses of energy, tornadoes, black holes, that sort of situation. Upon searching what a vortex was, it actually didn't help with the confusion, and it turns out that those have looked into the Thompson Park phenomena felt the same. A vortex typically involves heightened swirling energy, either emitting from or entering into the Earth's plane. Those familiar with the site think it's actually better described as a portal, and to local researchers, it is thought to be a portal between realities and acts as a gateway to the unknown.
Yeah, because I know we've talked about vortexes before, specifically the energy one, where it's like this could be a bad energy vortex where just bad things happen, or you just feel like super negative, something like that, or opposite, where you just feel really happy, sense of euphoria.
Right. That is what mainly I was finding as well, where it more so is impacting emotions, and maybe you can find like you're more likely to have experiences with apparitions or that sort of stuff, but nothing about losing time or transporting to other areas. One thing I did find in my research, you gotta love the internet, was a TikTok video on how to create your own vortex portal. So there's that, but we'll save that for a rainy day. Um, there was hard to find a lot on the vortex of Thompson Park because it's really a local legend that kind of ran wild, and I would say is still relatively unknown on a wider scale. I heard about it from my roommate Will, who had a terrifying experience while stationed in New York. During the winter of 2016, my best friend and I were told about a time vortex in the Watertown, New York area. Allegedly, a fellow coworker had gone through the vortex and gone back a full day.
Wait,
Us
he
being
went back?
He went
Like,
back in
back in
time.
time? Oh my god.
So Will had a hard time believing this. So he says, us being teenage boys at the time did the only natural thing and began to mock the alleged occurrence. As my best friend and I began to drive around aimlessly looking for something to do, as we often did on weekends, he eventually suggested that we give the vortex a whirl of our own. And since it was only 1 p.m. and we had nothing to do until later that night, I agreed. My best friend and I then did exactly what our coworker described. We began to do the circle around Thompson, and as we expected, nothing happened at first. However, once we fully got out of Thompson Park, we had immediately noticed that the clock in his car had been set back to 9 in the morning. I looked down at my watch to check the time, to then notice that my watch's clock was scrambled and blinking. My best friend checked his Snapchat, gotta love 2016, only to see pictures that he had just taken while we were at breakfast had just been sent. But in fact, they had been sent several hours ago. Weird. My best friend checked his Snapchat only to see pictures that he had just taken while we were at breakfast had just been sent, as if we had just left the restaurant, which was impossible, as the restaurant we ate at was 20 minutes away. I may not have believed in the Watertown Vortex before then. However, I left that day a full believer in a superstition. And that was one of the main stories he told me when he first got back, I think even before we were living together.
So,
So,
what was
very
he
weird.
like when he was saying all of this? Like, was he serious or was he, like, kind of joking?
He was dead serious.
Wow, that's incredible that he's that convinced.
He was definitely not the first person to experience this, and certainly not the last. What were
If
you
his
gonna
friends
say?
ever come to town, we have to separate them and ask them questions separately and quiz them, like,
Yeah.
interrogate them.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
then we'll do hypnotism?
Hypnotism, and then this is all good. I'm looking for polygraph test. Can I get one
Yes, like, can we
online?
buy one of those? Because I
Or
think we will need it.
even a rental, because let's be honest, they're
Mhm.
probably pricey. Oh, USB polygraph, military edition, 229.
Honestly, more reasonable than I was expecting. But I think you have to be trained technically to be able to read a polygraph.
They have a lie detector, electroshock lie detector, party game for 15.95. I mean, we could make do.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, and it shocks if you're lying. It's
Yeah,
great.
it'll work. So here is another encounter that is widely known online, and it involves not only time distortion, but something strange happening with the surroundings. So this was actually featured in a PBS documentary episode on the vortex. The story goes as follows. It wasn't noticeable at first, but the further in we got, the darker it became. The trail must have been closed for a while because trees were so thick there was absolutely no light, not even from the moon. Once we couldn't see 6 inches in front of our faces, we agreed that I would lead with my phone light while B, the person he was with, turned hers off to save the battery in case something went really wrong. When I turned my light on, my stomach dropped. There was something wrong with the trees. They were twisted and covered in cancerous looking knots. We stared a little too long before B pointed out that some of them almost looked like faces. We stopped pointing the light up. The deeper we went, the worse it got. It was horrifyingly quiet. No wind, no rustling. The only sound was our feet squelching in the mud. Then we realized the ground was covered in what must have been a few thousand night crawlers. For at least 20 minutes, every step crushed at least 10 of the goddamn worms. That constant squelching, broken only by our occasional conversations about which of the many, many paths to take, was the only sound. Eventually, the mud swallowed the trails completely. I mean, if it's really that muddy, if it's good weather, if it's raining, I don't think it's that crazy to see a lot of worms.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, like, where are the birds? You know?
Yeah, I was like, that's good eating for a robin.
Hmm. They'd love that.
Overall, we were lost for about 45 minutes to an hour before I gave up on the paths and started pushing through the trees. By then, B was getting pretty upset, and I was well past anxious. We were two teenage girls under 5'6", lost in the woods at night in like some kind of B-list first-person horror. Somehow, we came out at the golf course. After stopping at the restroom so I could pee and running back from the local skunk that apparently lived there, we found a path back to the main park area. We had only been there an hour and a half, maybe two. But when B turned her phone back on, it was a little after 3 in the morning. We had somehow lost almost 5 hours. We looked at each other, had our holy shit dude moment, then decided it was time to get the hell out of Dodge. I wonder where that saying comes from. I don't care enough to look
Yeah.
into it, but I'm curious. Just a
Yeah, because
passing
I
thought.
say that sometimes too.
I've always heard people say it, and living in the Motor City.
Huh.
Here, I'll ask my dad.
I gotta look it up
Thank you.
because
Get the hell out of Dodge. I wonder if it's some old TV show reference from like the 1600s. No, I'm joking.
Origin. The idiom comes from the American radio and television show Gunsmoke, which aired from the 1950s through the 70s.
So I was kind of right. Okay.
You were totally right. And it's like our grandparents probably said that and then it just stuck.
That is such an iconic line for it to have stuck around for so long. I wonder what line from a TV show is going to stick around as long as that has from like our generation.
It'll be SpongeBob.
Yeah. What line from SpongeBob?
You know, I just quoted SpongeBob today at work and I can't even remember what I said.
The only thing I can think of is that Goofy Goober song.
Oh my god, I know all the words.
Oh, I will sometimes, like, if I want chocolate, I will just say chocolate. Like, I actually don't even think the lady says chocolate. Does she say chocolate? Or
No,
does she say
it's
water?
the guy and then, like, it's the guy who says chocolate who's, like, chasing him, but then the grandma lady, she goes, "Chocolate."
Yeah,
Yeah.
chocolate. Give me chocolate.
I also say that.
So the entrance to the park was across the picnic area, but just as we were about to leave, a motorcycle with flashing red and blue lights came around the corner. We had no idea the park had security, though, considering how many people probably snuck in looking for the vortex. I should have known. We waited until he wasn't facing us, sprinted to the restroom area, and hid until he passed. We tried sticking to the shadows like we were ninjas instead of stupid kids where we shouldn't have been. Looking back, it's laughable, but at the time, we were terrified. We ran up the road, climbed onto a rock ledge, and followed it above the winding path to the entrance. When we finally climbed back down, we thought we were in the clear and started laughing at ourselves. We booked it out of there as fast as we could. I don't know what happened to us, but there's something wrong with that place. I never found that trail on any map, and neither of us could ever explain those missing 5 hours. I never got another chance to go back and prove it in one way or another, but I know one thing for a fact. Those stories have some truth to them. There is something going on at Thompson Park.
Yeah, that's very eerie.
So something's going on at Thompson Park, but what exactly is going on? That is something locals and paranormal enthusiasts are eager to find out. Some believe the vortex may just be confusion due to the massive layout of the park. Others have more interesting and fantastical ideas. The vortex may have something to do with Alan Dulles, the longest serving director of the CIA, who also happened to be brother of former Secretary of State John Foster Dulles, who served under none other than Eisenhower. Both men were Watertown natives who held significant power during the 1950s. And this isn't just speculation, but fact. Alan Dulles was such an integral member of the CIA during his tenure that Area 51 was given the nickname of Watertown Strip.
That's
Ye-
crazy.
Yeah, so the idea that Thompson Park, they're calling it like New York, Watertown's Area 51, isn't just a fun way to involve the infamous possible crash investigation, hidden alien government cover up site, Area 51. It has an actual connection to the town. In a news article announcing Dulles' death at 75, he was photographed with John F. Kennedy and referred to as the United States' most profound spy master. But he was also known for something else. The CIA director that initiated and signed off the beginning of MK Ultra, the top secret CIA initiative. Ever heard of it?
It's so funny. I've heard it and I've listened to several podcasts about it, but I can never remember what it's actually about.
So, essentially, after the newly appointed CIA director Alan Dulles went on a lawn tirade vilifying Soviet tactics, he cooked up and launched MK Ultra, a program that consisted of mind control experiments that focused around behavior modification through drugs, hypnosis, radiation, and even electroshock therapy. The program resulted in test subjects that ranged from people freely volunteering their time to coerced volunteers to several who had no idea what they were getting themselves involved in. It was dark stuff. Not only that, it was illegal. The program was eventually shuttered in the early 1960s after an audit revealed the program did not follow new research ethic guidelines on non consenting volunteers. Have you ever heard such a phrase, a non consenting volunteer? That doesn't sound like a volunteer to me.
No, that sounds like a crime.
Just to kind of further highlight when I was reading who these test subjects were, they ranged from, again, willing volunteers to army soldiers to schoolboys that were being raised by the state in special needs school programs that had no one to
Well,
take
that
care of
sounds
them. Like very vulnerable people.
Mhm.
So
Government
disturbing.
is the worst.
And I actually haven't listened to any podcast on this, but I've always heard of it.
Yeah.
But this is the most I know about it at this point. All I know is that it's all about messing with the mind. And putting on my tinfoil hat here, isn't it so strange that in the creator of messing with people's minds hometown, they have a place that is distorting people's perception of time? Could this be some, and this is me getting really tinfoily hat, left behind MK Ultra experiment? They like have some weird vortex thing that they were working on to mess with the enemy. Didn't
Yeah,
close
well,
it up.
I think it's likely
Why
that
not?
they did that, you know? But, like, also that was one of my main questions that I've been having in my head, that I'll just say now. Uh, like, are they still, like, targeting people, or did they just leave some kinda device out there that's causing this vortex? Or it's just a lasting effect, because like, if you mess with time-space continuum, it might not like it, it might just never be the same.
That's all very true. And I don't understand enough about physics to rule anything out. Another theory is heightened electromagnetic fields may cause the vortex portal thing. So in 2007, the Shadow Hunters, a group of paranormal investigators, studied the area and discovered extremely unusual EMF activity that was abnormally high. In addition, that the possibility could be that just the EMF is forming some weird vortex. High EMF can also cause people to feel nausea, confusion, headaches, even causing some to have hallucinations. I mean, maybe this is something they used in MK Ultra too, increasing the electromagnetic frequency of the area to distort people's perceptions and seeing how that worked. I mean,
I
if they were
mean,
giving
yeah.
people LSD, I would assume they would have tried some EMF, like messing with
Mhm.
that too, right? Little less invasive. So during the paranormal investigators' research, they found no evidence of a vortex or portal specifically, hauntings or otherwise. But they did note that they consistently found strange, extremely strong electromagnetic waves occurring with their devices. And what was particularly strange about this is because they had decided to hunt this area for ghosts. They weren't doing anything with the vortex. They chose this spot because it was in a park setting and it was unlikely that they were going to have interference on their devices. But when they got there, the results were anything what they were expecting.
I wonder if anyone's duplicated this.
I think others have. Another ghost hunter did go out there, but he was just there for about 90 minutes. I don't know if he brought his reader with him, but he did say that his battery went up in charge. So he got a free
Hmm,
phone charge out of it. So that's
heck
cool.
yeah. Yeah.
Didn't travel time, but got his phone up to 98%. So that's pretty good.
Or maybe his phone traveled time and went back to when it was full battery.
He should have really double checked that.
Yeah. Man, I'd be so upset, like, "Man, my phone got to go back in time, but I didn't."
Right. So, the high EMF in the area is likely due to the mineral deposits below the ground. It is proven that quartz crystals and limestone rocks, along when combined with copper, can create high electromagnetic fields. This isn't the first time that we have actually talked about the connection between limestone and the unexplained, with limestone being believed to trap past energy and cause residual tape recorder style hauntings. Whether the strange events happening in Thompson Park are otherworldly or something unexplainable, it's difficult to rule out so many individuals' encounters with the place as just misdirection or confusion. A local researcher who went unnamed but has been investigating the portal since the 70s, states, quote, time and space within the two realities and in a way between the two realities is very different, end quote. What I thought most interesting about this source was they specifically mentioned the 70s and they shut down MK Ultra early 60s.
Oh.
What if they never shut it down? They just moved it to Watertown, Thompson Park. It is a huge park. It's got a golf course, a zoo. Why can't it have a extra super secret we thought was defunct but actually isn't CIA program?
Yeah, and it seems like they have a lot of people to test on to choose from, so
Right. And okay, I'm recording this on Cody's computer. I'm pulling up my laptop because I did do a dive on vortexes because vortexes are a thing. And isn't there such a thing as like a space-time vortex? I thought there was. I know usually we think science fiction, we think time travel, shooting off into other areas, but let me pull up the article here. There was confirmation in the early 2010s that Einstein's theory of general relativity and the idea of frame dragging is true. So basically, it means that time behaves differently than we think, and that um, okay, I'm gonna explain this very badly because now I can't find the originals. The vortex is made up like of a multi-dimensional fabric, and it's not just space and time, but space and time together. And the Earth can bend the space-time continuum. Like it can shift it. Earth is shifting like the space-time vortex outside of Earth. What that means exactly, again, I wasn't ever that good at physics, but it does mean two things. Time can pass at different rates. So there's this thing called time dilation. So clocks on satellites, astronauts moving at high speeds, and even people standing at different altitudes can all experience very minuscule, I'll admit, differences in time. So there can be differences in time. And traveling into the future is physically possible. I mean, you just have to be traveling at the speed of light to do it, or a little bit before that, but hey, it's possible. Traveling into the past, though, I'm sorry, Will and Will's friend. At least Einstein hasn't said that can happen. But I don't know. I thought it was really interesting. It made my head feel like it was exploding. Both because it's cool, but also mainly because I don't fully grasp the concept. But it's there for you.
that all was very confusing, but I love it.
So what is this vortex portal thing in Thompson Park? Is it leftovers of a CIA MK Ultra experiment? Is it just some high electromagnetic frequency waves? Is it just a really big park with a lot of trails? I mean, it's okay to get lost sometimes. Whatever happens though, if you do travel to the park and go through that portal, just make sure you find your way back out.
Yeah, it's definitely a mix of all of them, but let's do the scare scale next. Scare scale for this week is 1, completely harmless, like you're going through the trail, you lose 5 hours, whatever. It doesn't even really cross your mind. Probably because the vortex is doing its thing, honestly. Um, but just harmless. 5, it's a decent jump scare. You look at the clock and it's like, oh my gosh, we have not been here 5 hours. No way. But you kind of just get over it. 10 is you freak out, you think about this for the rest of your life, and you never go outside ever again.
I would say a solid 6. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. You know, lost some time. If that's all that's happening, if I'm seeing like a missed apparition or something like that, that's spooky. But if I'm just losing some time, I mean, that's okay. But hey, if I'm going back in time, that could be a benefit. Like, could you imagine just the locals of the area using this as a resource? Like, oh my gosh, I had a super important test today. I overslept. Let me just go hop through the portal, wind back time real quick, and go ace my test. It can maybe be a benefit. What about you?
Well, it seems like you can't decide which one it is. And
That's
so
true.
I feel like it would be really cool if you could decide. I totally agree with you. I would say 6 or a 7. Um, yeah. Actually, probably a 7. I'd be really confused if I went back in time. Just be like, "I swear I've been in here longer," or I got here at, like, noon, but now it's 9." Like, that would be scary. Which one would you prefer?
Back in time, probably?
Yeah,
What about you?
back in time. Yeah, no, that makes more sense.
It makes
Because
me
at
feel
least you
better
get the
because if
time
I
back.
lost time, then what happened during my lost time?
Mhm. Yeah, did they mention anything about actually, like, aliens?
I didn't see anything about it. So I was looking into, was there increased UFO sightings, that sort of thing in the area. And from what I understand, like generally upstate New York is going to have UFO sightings, but nothing's like particular pertaining to this park. I also personally didn't see that this area is particularly more haunted or has any other like supernatural occurrences more than any other town. Well, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Nature Obscura. Have you traveled through a vortex in space and or time? And would you rather go forwards or backwards in time? Or none of the above? Let us know by emailing us at natureobscurapod@gmail.com. You can also follow us on social media. If you're lucky, I'll actually post on it. um,
Stay obscure, Earthlings.
transmission ending.